All right, so I have just mailed some paperwork to make the end of my homeschooling my last son official. So not only did his portfolio go in the mail to an evaluator who usually checks everything each year, and then she sends me that back and there's a fee, but also a letter went out to the education board that we are officially done homeschooling. So this is a big victory, not only for me, not only for my son and my family, but this is a really good feeling because I homeschooled not with pretty much nothing is what I homeschooled with. I graduated early from high school. I just was busy with my friends. I was pretty popular. I wasn't really into education at that time. I did like to write. I liked to, I wasn't a big reader. I just liked to write. I liked to hang out with my friends and mostly my family. And so I knew how to do my homework. I knew how to get enough credits to graduate early. And then as I started having my own kids, I just never even heard of homeschooling. And I was like, what? You can homeschool your kids? And I went to this church where most of the families homeschooled at the time. And I had an older lady who was a mentor. I've had many mentors in my life. An older woman who was well known. She was renowned. She had 5 kids and she did a great job at homeschooling her kids. And I remember something that I loved as a kid, although I wasn't a big reader, I did enjoy, not a big reader in school, but when I did go to my grandmother's, my great-grandmother's house, she had an attic full of books. And I remember exploring her books. And the same thing with the homeschooling. This lady had a lot of books. I loved looking at her, going up in her attic, looking at books. So I started my homeschool journey mostly because I didn't want my oldest son to go to school because I would have missed him. That was the reason why I started homeschooling. And then from there, I just loved doing stuff with my kids, very hands-on. I loved being in the kitchen, teaching them things as I also learned. We had a lot of financial struggles just because I chose to stay home and be a stay-at-home mom. And we really couldn't afford to do that. So I had to learn how to be really frugal. And I had to learn how to do that when there wasn't hardly any money coming in. That included disconnect notices for a water bill. That included being behind on the rent. And that's how much of a conviction I had that I was meant to stay home with my kids and homeschool. So, you know, money comes and goes. Everything was cleared up with that. Everything, you know, got paid with everything. And we had, I remember telling, when we were in a trailer, I was telling the owner, he's like, you can only have 2 kids here. And I'm like, nobody's going to tell me how many kids I can have. And we had 5, and we had the first 3, and then as they got older, we had more room. And they were kind of leaving home, and we had the other 2. And I mean, I really made a home out of very little and really made a life for us. I built a life for us. So as I did that, you know, we had time to be a family, time when Dad came home to hang out. And then we moved into a bigger home where I did have to work because we would not have been able to afford us moving. And then by then my youngest were teenagers, just about almost teenagers, and that was such a treat, having a 3-bedroom home. The trailer was absolutely falling apart, and we homeschooled out in the country. And so we had the city with the trailer, which was fine because the homeschooling allowed me in the city to still kind of keep an eye on my kids. And then the homeschooling was great in the country too. And my youngest son, who is graduating, was able to bike all over the place. Local geography for him is so good. And now we're going on a road trip. So his world, you know, his his geography across the country and then probably the world. Knowing him will be great. And I've had my other kids travel quite a bit, and so it's been about, let me see, I just loved homeschooling, and I was probably the one who benefited quite a bit because I was able to learn with my kids. So it's been close to 30 years. This whole homeschool journey has started for me, and my goals are met. I have nothing to prove. I met my goals. I became a Christian. My life did a 180. I ended up trying to be the best wife I could be, the best mother, the best homemaker. I also worked very hard at educating my family and raising my kids the best I could up, and to bring them to church, and to, you know, do the best I could to love my kids and take care of them. So I feel like I've had a lot of success in my life. And now that this is wrapping up, this time in my life, this chapter in my life is over. And as I move forward, I will be headed out to stay with my oldest son because housing is so difficult in the state to find. And we will be there for a little bit. We're going to take a road trip. And then I will be, as he's a teacher, I will also be investing myself in the next generation with him. And this will be really fun to do this with him and look at curriculum and everything with him and give him my advice as he invests in the next generation. So that's the next chapter in my life. I'm not wasting anything with the homeschooling. My storage is now at a halt where most of that is my paperwork and books from homeschooling. And that's what's happening. So this is a great day for me. And then my son and I, every single year when my kids have done their school, I've done something for them. Their main reward is their learning, that they did a good job, and then I do something for them. And then when they graduate, I usually spend a pretty big chunk of money on them, a good probably $500 usually, to do something really special for all the years that they worked hard. And it comes from the heart. It's not just a car, because they can go buy their own car, they can go buy their own home, they can go do their own stuff, but this is something that they may have wanted. So I usually get them something. And so my son and I are now going out for lunch to celebrate his success, and he's worked hard on so many things. And then we will do the road trip and celebrate together, as you know, with my other sons, his success, and enjoy that. So that is what's going on in my life. And as I move forward, I will be doing some videos about the road trip that we are taking in 4 days. We're leaving in 4 days. Okay, thanks for joining me.